Hello, 5th and 6th grade students. Mrs. Fondre here, and today we're going to talk about your artist study. Now, I know usually we do this at the beginning of the year, but with all this COVID and doing art projects while we can kind of thing going on, I figured this might be a project for a later time. So, I wanted to give you a little rundown on how it's going to be different this year. I'm hoping it will be a little bit easier and a little clearer to understand what I'm expecting from this, okay? So I'm going to show you a fake Google Classroom that I use to set up my office hour meetings. So nobody's in this Google Classroom, but it has the documents you'll need for your project when it's posted, okay? So I'm going to present now, share my whole screen, and I'll let you know what it looks like, okay? So if I open up my fake Google Classroom, there's nobody in here. There's going to be two documents I share with you in your Google Classroom. One of them says Artist Study List, and the other one says Artist Study. Now, I'm going to click on the Google Slide one first, because that's going to kind of give you the overall project and what I am hoping that you can complete, okay? So, you'll see it opens up. It's going to require you to make a copy. It opened automatically for me because I'm the one who made it, but when that box pops up, click make a copy, because I don't want you taking my original and putting in things and then nobody else can get it. So when you look at your slideshow, what I would have you do right away is the first slide says artist's name. When you pick your artist, it could be Van Gogh, it could be Picasso, it could be Rembrandt, it could be many. You have a big choice of names this year. You put the name in the front, and you'll actually add the birth date and death date, if he or she has a death date, to the front slide as well. Also, one thing I'm going to change now that I've been talking through this is I'm going to have a spot for you to put your name and class code as well, so I know it's yours. Yep, the bells are still ringing here. All right. So the second slide is the most important one and kind of talks you through what I'm expecting. You can see at the very top in red, underlined, and in bold, it says delete this slide before submitting. So don't delete it right now because you need it. But this entire project is worth 50 points. Now, to put that into perspective, a normal project like painting, clay, drawing, those are worth 15 points this year. So this is almost 4 or 5 times more points. So this is a really big deal. So if you don't do this, you probably won't be passing art. So this is a very, very big project for you. All right. So the first bullet point says add a theme. And in parentheses, I wrote slide, little greater than sign, change theme. So what that means is you're going to take your mouse and you're going to click on slide up at the top. You go down to the very bottom. Whoop, I can get back over here. You go to the bottom, it says change theme. Now, the reason we're doing this, you can see these boxes pop up and you can see there's different options, is because most people would agree that a plain white slideshow is very, very boring. So this at least makes it interesting for Mrs. Fondre to grade. So pick one, or if you can import one, sure, give it a try. All right. Just doing that is 5 points. All right. I'm going to close out of that because I don't need to do that right now. Then the next really big bullet point says have a slide for each of these topics. So that means each of these bullet points on the left should be their own slide. So the first slide should say where they are from and an image. So if they are from Paris, France, you're probably going to want to find a picture of Paris, France, and put it in. There has to be some sort of image along with this. So that's worth 3 points. The next slide is about their childhood. That could be their family members, and the parents, siblings, people they lived with growing up, and 3 interesting facts. So you can't just say your person had a mom, dad, and sister. Those are not 3 facts. Those are just the family. So you'd have to say they moved to Peru when they were a child, or maybe that they got into a car accident growing up. Those would be, that's more of a fact versus the family members. So family members and 3 different facts. That's worth 5 points. The next slide, the third one, is their education for art. Did they have a formal education? Did they go to an art school? If so, what was it? Otherwise, if they were more of, if you pick an older artist from earlier in history, they may not have a formal school. Maybe talk about how they apprenticed or they learned under somebody for their education. So that's worth 2 points. And the last main fourth slide that you're going to be doing is family as an adult. So when they grew up, did they have a spouse? Did they get married? Did they have children? What were their names? So that's like their family as a grown-up. And what are 3 interesting facts as they were an adult? Okay, so this could be they traveled the Amazon, or maybe they invented a new type of paintbrush. Okay, it could be just facts when they're a grown-up. Okay, so that's worth 5 points. Now, on the right side of this slide, you'll see there are 3 bullet points, and those all go on the same slide. So if you watch this video and you don't do that, I will know you weren't paying attention very well. So the 3 points on the right go on the same slide. So slide number 5, you should only have 6 slides for this. Okay, so if you have more, I'll know you weren't paying attention. So on that very, very last slide, I want you to tell me what period of art did they fit into? What style of art? So this would be anywhere from the Renaissance, Baroque, Pointillism, Cubism, Modernism, Expressionism. It's a lot of words with ism at the end of it, okay? So what period of art did they fit into? And I want you to pick a piece of work that they made in this style and talk about it. So you're going to find that image and put it on this slide, this last slide, and tell me 3 elements or principles of art and design that can be used in this piece. Be specific. That is highlighted, bolded, underlined. Be really specific, okay? If you picked, for example, Pablo Picasso, and you said he has lots of shapes, I'm going to say, well, yes, he has lots of shapes. He did Cubism. Can you be more specific? So you'd say Pablo Picasso made his people look like they were made of geometric shapes. There, that was very, very specific. So this portion of the slide is worth 15 points. So this is a big one to be able to talk about the piece of art you picked, okay? And the last bullet for the slide is, why did you pick this piece to talk about? Okay, that's worth 5 points. So say, I picked this piece because it was really interesting, or I picked this piece because I really liked the colors in it, or I picked this piece because I really like looking at bowls of fruit. Whatever the piece is, tell me why you picked it. You have probably hundreds of options to pick it from for these artists. Oh, why did you pick them? All right. So again, quick overview. You are going to have this title slide. You are going to have a slide for where they are from. That's slide 2. Slide 3, childhood. Slide 4, education. Slide 5, their family as an adult. And 6 slides. And that one's all about their style, that piece of art, and talking about it. Okay? So if you have more than 6, I will know you are not quite paying attention. Okay? So if I can stop presenting for just a moment here. That is the big project chunk of this. So that is the guidelines and everything you need. It is as clear as I could possibly think of to make it. If you find a new way to do it, let me know. I will happily change this for next year. However, I got to go back to my Google Classroom. So I guess I should probably share my screen again, because that other document that's in there is all about the artists, okay? So I will go back to present mode. And get this going, share. All right, so once you get back into the classroom, the other document that is in here is a Google Doc that says Artist Study List. If you click on that, it should open, tell you to make a copy, because I don't, again, want you to accidentally goof something up. I worked really hard on this sheet in particular, because these are a whole bunch of artists that I thought were worth mentioning and looking into. And each one of their names, I linked a very well-known piece of art of theirs for you to get an idea if you'd want to study them more, okay? So this isn't necessarily the image you need to put in your slideshow for when you're talking about the art. Maybe you find something else, but this is a good image to kind of say, ooh, I want to learn more about the person who made this, Okay, so you can see on the left here, it says pick one artist for your artist study. I know it's hard to pick because they're all wonderful artists, but they're alphabetically organized by last name. So they're not done by time period. They're not done by first name. So that was the best way I could kind of come up to organize them. So if you're like reading through this list and you're like, well, let me see what this Vasily Kandinsky is all about, you can click on his name, and sometimes it pops up right away. You can just see one of his pieces of work. Okay. Other people, let me see if I can click on Frida Kahlo. It shows up. Hopefully all of these show up. It'd be great if it did. But otherwise, if it's not showing up, for example, George O'Keeffe, you're actually going to have to click on the website and an image will pop up. Kind of hit or miss with which ones do what, when, and why, and how. So anyways, it's up to you. If you are struggling or you're like, there's so many options, I don't know what to pick, let me know. I will happily assign you one. Okay. So if you're having a hard time choosing, let me know. We're going to be working on this, I'm guessing, maybe a few class periods. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks, which seems like a lot of time, but I only see you once a week. So that would be a day to maybe get most of your information in, which you can go to biography.com, which I will also link in there because that's a great website for that. And maybe another day to work on the image or painting you wanted to talk about. Okay. So if you have any questions, I know I just talked a lot at you about this artist study, but there's a lot of information. And like I said, it's worth 50 points. So this is the biggest project in art for my 5th and 6th grade students. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to send me an email or type a question into the Google Classroom. I would be happy to respond and hopefully get you all on the same page. All right. I also have those office hours on Wednesdays. I emailed everybody the link for that Google Meet. If you want to chat with me between 1 and 2 p.m., I'm around. I will be hosting a Google Meet for everybody. So, like I said, let me know your questions, and I'm looking forward to finding out all about your artists. Well, I know a lot about them anyway, but I want to see what you find out. Happy exploring!